Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel and welcome to Girl Talk Part 2. I hope everyone's well, I hope you're good. If you're new here, my name's Charlotte, thank you for stopping by. I hope everyone enjoyed Girl Talk Part 1. I just wanted to say like a huge thank you because I got so many lovely DMs and messages after that. And I just thought it was really nice, and I'm glad that it went down as well as it did, because I was not like nervous about posting it. It's just different to my usual content. For those of you that haven't seen Girl Talk Part 1, I'll pop a link in the description box. So Girl Talk Part 1, we discussed kind of all things physical and body related, as well as friendships. Girl Talk Part 2, today we're going to be discussing all the juicy stuff. So we're going to be discussing sex, love and relationships and a few career questions. I should have managed to get everyone's questions. If I haven't and I've missed it, I'm really sorry. I did try to answer every single question that I got. Repeats are kind of jumbled together. As I said in the last video, I'm by no means an expert in a lot of this, especially like in the love and relationship stuff. I've tried to answer as best as I can, but if any of you watching have any advice for any of the questions, I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below, because I'm sure there's a lot of you around here that are a lot more qualified to answer some of these questions compared to me. We are jumping straight in with a juicy one, and it is any advice on getting libido back. I'm probably going to end up saying this for a lot of questions, but of course this is going to be different for every single person. I think first and foremost, a little bit of sympathy towards yourself and an understanding that your libido is an ever-flowing, ever-changing thing. I think this is really important. Your libido is going to be something that hugely fluctuates throughout your life, like for a number of different reasons, some hormonal, some psychological, etc. And also, if you can think about this without over analyzing it, is there any immediate reason why you think that your libido might not be doing much for you? For instance, have you gone through anything like psychologically? Are you going through a period of stress in your life? Are you going through a period of ill health? Are you on any medications? Because a lot of medications have side effects that affect your libido and your sex drive. So for instance, I obviously still am to some degree, but like I was going through quite an intense period of grief, and I felt like incredibly disconnected from my brain and what was going on down there. And it sounds really stupid, but I couldn't figure it out for quite a while. I was like, there's something wrong with me, and everyone was like, yeah, you're grieving. So I think getting to the bottom of the reason, or like doing a process of elimination, would be quite helpful. There's so much psychological stuff as well as physical stuff that can play into this, and I think even just like having an awareness or an acknowledgement of that can really help, and just being kind to yourself about that. I also think that if you have a long-term romantic or sexual partner, or someone that you're intimate with on a regular basis, I think communicating that you have a bit of a lower libido at the moment is really important, because there's one thing that's not gonna wanna make you do it, is the pressure of doing it. Pressure is notoriously unsexy, and I don't mean like pressure from your romantic partner, I mean pressuring yourself as well, because you can be sitting there thinking like, oh, I really want to be intimate with someone, and if it's just not happening, it's not happening, and you thinking that you want it really badly is not going to help the situation. I also think, how are they supposed to know unless you tell them? I think communication is a really huge part of that. I would also recommend reading, if you're in a heterosexual relationship, Come As You Are by Emily Nagoski. It's a book that's inherently about the biology of women's sexuality, and it talks about like desire response and how different it is from that of men's, and it just really helped me science my way through a low libido. Also, if your partner can read that, I think it's really helpful to better help men understand women's bodies and how women work in terms of building desire and libido. I know that's not really an answer, and I know that that is more just the first steps of starting to get your libido back, but it is so different for everyone. But those are like my main takeaways from it. I hope that's useful to you. Okay, so the next person would like advice on feeling like you and your partner are at totally different places in a long-term relationship. So honestly, I think it's fairly natural that there will be points in your relationship where you and your partner inevitably will be at different places or want different priorities to some degree. This is where it's on you to decide whether that difference in place or difference in wants and priorities is sustainable. I'm so sorry if you can hear construction, it's literally happening opposite my house. Making sure that you and your partner share a connection despite the difference is really, really crucial in my opinion. For instance, you might be like super deep in your career and climbing the corporate ladder, but your partner might be studying full-time still. That could probably feel really isolating and feel like you're in really different places, or a huge disparity in what you both earn can feel really isolating, I think. Can make you feel like you have very different priorities, like you're in very different places if one of you is earning like 10-20k more than the other person. A difference in spiritual and religious beliefs can make you feel like you are two completely different people. It's important to come back to that connection aspect, like why you love each other, why you're doing this. If this different place that you're both in, is this like a short-term issue? Is this circumstantial, for instance the studying thing, or is this really a difference of places and wants? Like, do you both want very different things in life? You can want different things at different times and ultimately still want the same thing, if that makes sense. I'm trying to put it in like tangible examples, but it's really hard to without knowing like the exact situation. Like someone wanting to stay in the city and someone wanting to move to the country, those are both wanting very different things, but either a compromise can be met or you can just do one or the other. Like that's not impossible to work around, I don't think. It really depends on how unwilling each party is to compromise. I think it all comes down into what differences you're willing to accept and where your hard boundaries are. And I know that's not very helpful, but I'm hoping that it will help you more clearly define the parameters in your head of what differences should look like. To me, I think it's a given that when you're in a long-term relationship, you're not always going to be in the same place. Like, that's impossible. No two people are going to be in the same place throughout the duration of their whole relationship. But it's basically on both of you, from both ways, you and their way, to decide if you can ride it out or if it's something that you don't want to ride out. I think there is no harm in this situation in coming back to those parameters and coming back to your wants for your life. I feel like that is so vague. And also just like talk to your partner. Talk to your partner about what they want. Talk to your partner about where you're at, where they're at, etc, etc, etc. Someone asked me, this is quite a fun one, what the top 3 things are that my boyfriend does that drive me absolutely mad. And they said theirs is their partner leaving socks everywhere. I'm not gonna lie, in this relationship I'm the sock leaver. Doug laughed when he saw that question. He was like, you leaving your socks everywhere makes me insane. And I racked my brain really long and hard to think of 3 things. And 3 things that were like relatively lighthearted that didn't sound like glaring red flags, and I could literally only think of one. I'm sure there are many more things he does that irritate me, and lots of things I do that irritate him, but I can say without a doubt the top thing, and it feels mean even saying this, is Duolingo. The noise of the Duolingo app in my ear sends me west. So he's got like a 450-day Duolingo streak or something. It's absolutely ridiculous. And he will do anything he can do to maintain that streak. He'll be doing it. He'll like wake up super late. He'll be doing it in bed, and it's so loud in my ear. He'll be doing it in the Uber. I've seen this man Duolingo in the club. I've seen this man Duolingo on the beach, in the restaurant. Like, he will Duolingo anywhere. Got really annoyed that he was doing it like right before he came to bed, so I was like, can you just do it in the morning? And he would do it in the morning, and I swear to God it doesn't make a difference. He's still always doing it in bed. He just like does the extra lessons or like does the extra time, and it makes me seethe. I don't know why. I know it's a good thing, he's learning another language, but it like makes me crazy. I like fucking hate that Duolingo owl so much. And I also think Duolingo is a scam, because I think if anyone had been learning a language every single day for 450 days they'd be able to speak it fluently. But no, I won't say too much. I would love to hear about the things that your partners do that drive you mad. If you want to sound off in the comments to make me feel less bad about going in on my partner. Next one up, advice on going through a breakup from a 4.5-year relationship. Firstly, I'm really sorry to hear that you're going through a breakup. That's awful. It must be so tough. And secondly, I'm going to try my hardest to give decent advice on this, but I have actually never gone through like a bad breakup in my life, really, especially not as an adult. And I'm very inexperienced in breakups, because the breakups I have gone through, I would probably handle them a bit differently, because I was definitely like under 20 when I went through these breakups. So yeah, I'm gonna try really hard to give you some decent advice. And if anyone else has any advice for going through a long-term breakup, please let this lovely person know, so that they're not just hinging all of their feelings on my shit advice. The advice you won't want to hear, that I know I wouldn't want to hear, is that time really does heal everything. I said this in my last video, and it's very, very easy for me to say that, being so inexperienced in breakups, but I think that is like the overarching message. It is the most sucky but true advice ever. When anyone ever tells you that, it's just like, shut the fuck up. So I would say it really just is operating on a day by day basis. I found that when I'm like hurting so bad over anything, I'm like, let's get through to lunchtime, let's get through to the end of the day, let's make it to tomorrow. There is a reason that all the cringiest advice is the best advice. Secondly, don't isolate yourself, even if you feel like you really want to. For me, when I'm going through something a bit tough, or I'm going through a period of upset, my first instinct is to not see anyone and to just like hermit myself away and isolate. I just go a bit ghost. And while this might be good in some respects, I really just do think surrounding yourself with your community, with your friends, with your family, with the people that fill up your cup, that nourish you, is actually the best option, even if what you feel like you want is alone time. Being with people will always make the time pass faster. Go out, see your family, see your friends, get a nice coffee, do something. Even if you feel like you're not going to be good company, that's fine. They expect you to not be great company at the moment. Do nice things that you enjoy. Pick yourself up a bit if you can. Go for a walk, wash your hair. Don't fester in bed for too long. These things are going to feel boring, pointless and redundant, but they all serve a purpose, because you will categorically never regret seeing your friends. You never feel worse after seeing your friends or seeing your family, or just like not being by yourself. Even if you have a friend that you invite around to like come rot with you, it's better than nothing. And also, this might not be for everyone. Journal. Get your feelings out on paper, get your feelings out selfishly. There's stuff that we won't say to our friends because it just feels too far gone, and there's stuff you can't like unsay. So write it down, get your thoughts out on paper, especially like in those nighttime times where you might find you're struggling a bit to get to sleep. Journal. Just do 3 pages on anything. You don't have to be doing like shadow work prompts. You don't have to be doing anything deep. Just write about your day. You don't have to write about your feelings. I just think breakups are the kind of thing you have to take day by day, and sooner than you know, it's been like 3 months and you're already feeling just a little bit better. I do really hope that was useful for you. If it wasn't, I am really sorry, but please do comment below, other people, if you feel like you have any good breakup advice or this is something you've gone through recently. So the next question is how to respect your own boundaries when you're dating. Once again, I'm giving the disclaimer that I haven't dated in such a long time, and this is the kind of advice that I would imagine I would give my friends now, or I would give myself now. Advice I'm going to give now is probably applicable to all stages of relationships, just because that's the one that makes most sense to me. I really think that so much success in relationships and dating is just down to being communicative. I think if you're comfortable communicating your boundaries clearly from the start, then do. Where relevant. So if you are only looking for dinner dates, say that, turn it into a dinner date. If you are only looking for something incredibly casual, no strings attached, communicate that. That way, if the other person offers you something alternative that's not what you're looking for, you can just say, no, I'm good, thank you though. And it can just be done. Establish them as early as is comfortable for you. And I know that sounds like an uncomfortable conversation, but it doesn't have to be this big, heavy, this is what I'm looking for, this is what I will do, this is what I won't do, this is what I want, this is what I absolutely don't want. It doesn't have to be a big, heavy conversation. I think you'd be surprised about what naturally kind of comes up in conversation when you're dating someone, when you're speaking at the beginning. As for respecting your own boundaries, I think there's probably an element of people pleasing that comes into this, because it's essentially a conversation with yourself about if you're prioritizing other people being comfortable over what you're comfortable with. Are you putting other people's feelings ahead of yours? At the end of the day, boundaries are in place to make us feel safe, valued and loved, and personally, for me, I don't think anyone is worth sacrificing that, because you need those 3 things in order to successfully spend time with someone, have a friendship with someone, date someone, have a sexual relationship with someone. You need to feel safe, loved and valued. I don't want to go so far as to say that if you're not in a place where you can respect your own boundaries, you probably shouldn't be dating, but I do think it's something that should be constantly worked on. If you're not in a position where you're going to respect your own boundaries, you might be putting yourself in a dangerous situation, in a situation that sets you up really easily to get get hurt in a situation that hurts the other person, first and foremost, you should be protecting yourself. And I think boundaries is the best way to do that. Did that make sense? Did that make sense? I felt like it was a lot of rambling and maybe a bit of therapy speak, but I hope it made sense. How to maintain a long-term relationship in the lower moments of a relationship. One thing I'm gonna say that I've said like 4 times this video is communication. I think I would say communication. Surprisingly, I'm not a very good communicator, especially when I have to be. And I think communication is a really good basis for a solid, good relationship. This is, again, it has to be quite vague because I do feel like there is a lot of different scenarios for what constitutes like the lower moments of a relationship. But what I'm gonna say is make things easy for yourself and both of you. Take it back to basics, order takeout, simple meals, automate your life, add less pressure, don't make big decisions, simple dates, spending time together, simple opportunities for connection. Be present, be off your fucking phone when you're spending time together, be intentional about how you spend your time together. Even if you're at the low point where all of this kind of stuff feels forced because it doesn't feel like there's much enjoyment, you're inevitably gonna have points like this in your relationship, especially if it's a long-term relationship. I saw a TikTok that I'm not going to be able to quote like verbatim, but it basically said you need to learn how to be in a bad relationship. And that sounds like I'm saying roll over and take being in a bad relationship, but I think everyone can have a fun and good relationship when everything is like up. But I do think learning how to exist together when things are a little bit hard is really valuable, because when things get a bit shitty or a bit tough or a bit stressful, you don't want like someone's first reaction to be ditching you. It depends what kind of reason the moments are lower. Like if your mental health is suffering and you feel like you're lower, or your partner's mental health is suffering and you feel like it's a lower relationship because of that, the other person kind of picks up and supports what the other person's put down for a little bit, you know? I don't know if that makes sense. It does just depend on what the reasoning is for. Like if you are just going through one of those natural periods where you maybe are like at each other a little bit, you argue a little bit more, all those moments of connection, finding your way back to each other will be really valuable, even if it's like the last thing you want to do. I think that's the best advice I can give that's general and not specific, without knowing about why you're in a lower situation. I'm not asking anyone to tell me, but that's the best I can do with what I've got. I hope that was useful. How do you know when you're with the one? I'm not gonna lie, I hate to say when you know, because how do we know? My easy answer out of this would be like, oh, you just know, or you laugh more than you cry, etc. You can be yourself with them, etc. I do think that all of those are true to some extent. I would imagine that we all have a set of personal parameters that form the ideal partner for us. Now, said parameters are ever evolving. They probably change frequently. I know mine do, and they will definitely be different to your parameters a year ago, 2 years ago, or 2 years from now. I'd imagine that when we meet someone that fulfills all these parameters and expectations, that would be the person that is classed as the one. Fulfills all those parameters and they make us happy. I should stress that, and they make you happy. I feel like that should be part of the list anyway, but it's easily overlooked. That will probably be our iteration of someone who is the one. Don't sell yourself short by saying it's not possible to meet someone that meets all of your criteria and specifications. Set the bar high. Love shouldn't be hard. It shouldn't be constantly hard times. This is something that really annoys me about like Western perceptions of what romantic love should be like. And I do think that it is really perpetuated in a lot of the media we consume, a lot of the books I read, a lot of the movies, love songs, all of that stuff. There's this notion of like fighting for love, lest we forget Cheryl Cole. I actually don't think you should have to fight for a situationship that makes you feel like shit and doesn't even fuck you that well. Nor do I think the notion of fighting for love that early on in a relationship is romantic. I don't think it's romantic at all, actually. 3 months is not a lot of time at all. Like you hear a lot of this like, we've had our ups and downs, like love hasn't been easy for us, it hasn't come naturally to us. Are you mad? Like, are you fucking mad? I don't want to hear that when you are like 1 year into your relationship. I don't want to hear that love isn't easy when you've been together 1 year. You should still be in the honeymoon phase. In my opinion, romantic love should be easy. I just see too many like lovely women and men in their mid-20s like putting in trials and tribulations and like the fights of lifetimes for people that they've been with for like less than 6 months. I just don't think it should be that hard. Cut your losses. Like, I barely know you and you're giving me a headache. Be more discerning about who you allow into your life and who you decide to expend your energy into. For the love of God, please. I'll get off my soapbox now. The next girlie is torn between being a lover girl or having a feral hot girl summer. Toss a damn coin. Obviously I'm joking. Well, unless that works for you. I'm a formerly retired city girl, now transformed into a lover girl. I don't know what to tell you other than do both. I think if you're gonna have a feral hot girl summer, be safe, use protection, make good decisions, be discerning, and make sure you're not using sex as a form of self-harm. That being said, you can have a feral hot girl summer without fucking if you so choose. And I would say if you're gonna have a hot girl summer, have a hot girl summer in the true sense of the word. Go out and enjoy. You can be a feral girl with lover girl intentions. Because I'm a Cancer moon. I'm very much a lover girl to my core. It is a way of life. It's not just about the romance. I love myself. I love my friends. I love my life. I pour love into everything I do. And you can still do that hot girl element with the lover girl intentions if you want. Like, I love my man, but I still want to shake my ass in the club. Do you know what I mean? And that's okay. You can do both. We can have it all. So let me read the next one. I feel rude looking away from the camera when I'm reading them, but needs must. Hey, love your videos. Thank you so much. Love you. And would really value your opinion on ending a long-term relationship in your late 20s. My partner has done nothing wrong, but I just feel unfulfilled and unhappy, but so scared of the thought of starting completely new and the upheaval it will cause. Firstly, I'm so sorry you're feeling unfulfilled and unhappy. That's a really like awful place to be in, and completely empathize with being so terrified of the upheaval. It's not like an easy decision to make, so I'm going to try to advise my way best around this, but please don't break up with your partner just because of me. I cannot stress that enough. Hoping I can give you the tools to make a better informed decision that you feel at peace with. And I say this next part with all the love and all of the light in the world, but if one of your friends said this to you, what would you say to them? Now say the same to yourself. It's very easy for me to sit here and say you should leave them, which I'm not going to say, but I will say, if the only thing that's stopping you being by yourself is the thought of the kind of admin around separating from a long-term partner, so like the upheaval, the moving if you live together, the disentanglement of like the friendship groups, etc. If that is the only thing that's stopping you, I don't really think that's a good enough reason. I know that that stuff is really, really scary, but like there will be scary stuff in your life, like for the rest of your life. Upheaval will always come in one form or another. I think if we're to reframe that big scary upheaval, we could look at it as an opportunity to start fresh. I also think it's really important for you to trace the source of why you feel unfulfilled or unhappy, because I'm reading a little bit between the lines of your question and you haven't quite specified whether you just generally feel unfulfilled or unhappy, or if you're feeling unfulfilled or unhappy like with your partner. Does that make sense? Like, so whether you're unfulfilled and unhappy because of your relationship or because of your life. I think it's so crucial and important that you do not put all of your happiness and your sense of self-worth and your sense of value and your purpose in this life on the shoulder of your partners, because that's not fair on you. You're so much more than a partner, and it's not fair on your partner who's carrying this burden that they might not even be aware of, that like your sense of purpose and goodness in the world is like contingent on them. Like, no one should have that pressure. I'm gonna show you a little exercise that I do quite frequently. I think I do it once a month, and I'm hoping it's gonna help you like disentangle where your sense of unhappiness and unfulfillment is coming from, and like help you identify whether it's your partner or like other aspects of your life. Let me get a notebook. I'm gonna get a notebook and I'm gonna draw this, and then I'm gonna show you what it looks like. So you're gonna draw a big circle. A lot of you have probably seen this before, if I'm completely honest, because it's not like anything new or revolutionary. and you're going to divide this circle up into 8 pieces, and you're going to label this. You're going to do exercise, play, work, friends, romance, adventure, spirituality, and then the last segment can be personal growth or like fulfillment. I like to do personal growth because God forbid I'm not personally growing. So this is what it looks like. If you type in like wheel of life, you will find so many more suggestions for what you can put in there. It's going to be roughly the same thing every single time. So lots of them will say finances in lieu of career or work. Some of them will say like family. Under personal growth could be life purpose. So it all kind of means the same thing. But what you're going to do is you're going to rate these out of 10. So let's say I've been finding loads of time for play lately. I've been feeling so good. I've been feeling in my hobbies. I'm having so much fun. I'm really got a regular yoga practice in. I'm playing every evening. Hey, can I come outside to play? Let's say I'm gonna rate this 8. You're gonna colour it in. Let's say work shit, I feel discouraged, I never want to be there. We're gonna rate that a 2. We're gonna colour that in like that. None of these are applicable to my life, by the way, before you start thinking you've got insight. Friends. Friends, middling, could be better. I'm not making enough time for them, but I am seeing them and we're talking a lot online. Romance. Really think about this one. This will be applicable to you, person who submitted the question. How's the romance in your life? I actually really like my partner. There's nothing wrong, but you know what? We're not spending a lot of time together. So let's put that kind of just below the middle because it seems unfair to put it by the end, right? Essentially, you'll be looking through this and you'll eventually have things of varying degrees and a really good visual representation of where you need to improve in areas of your life. Do this once a month, because let's say if you can see that your sense of romance is really low, you almost will know every single time exactly what you need to feel better about that situation. So if you're like, oh, I'm feeling really disconnected from my partner lately, I really miss doing stuff together, you're going to seek ways to make new connection. You're going to write this down as well. You can write like extra paragraphs on it and you can say, I want to go on date night. So you might go on 2 or 3 date nights that month, and the next month when you do it, your romance might be up there. You can literally physically see what areas of your life you need more fulfillment in, and I think that's just a really good way of seeing where your priorities lie as well, because work could be full and up to 10, but you've had no time for play, exercise or adventure. No wonder you're going to feel terrible. If you're not feeling like you're very in tune with your spiritual being or your religion at all, what do you need to do to get that back up? It might be that you're working in a job that doesn't align with your spiritual beliefs, or you might have a partner that's the complete opposite end of that for you and it's a bit of a deal breaker. You get the idea of this, but I think this will be really useful for you in further defining what you want versus what you don't want and where your sense of unfulfillment is coming from. All of this that I've just said might help you feel closer in making a decision, but please don't let a stranger on the internet tell you you should break up with your partner, because I don't know either of you. And yeah. Next up, have I ever had a friend that I felt was getting too friendly with a partner? And do you know what? I actually have never had this. My friends would never. My friends would never. I think that's crazy. If that's happening to you, I'm really sorry. Firstly, I would cuss my man out for encouraging it. Secondly, I would take a long, hard look at my friend and wonder why she is so unhappy in her life that she is stepping over into mine like that. This is so mad. I like don't even have any advice for this, because this is the kind of thing that you confront them and they'll be like, it's just being friendly. So I think the onus lies in the discouragement of it from your partner. And I know that that's not fair, because we should be looking at the person that is conducting this ill behavior in the first place, but it just depends on whether you feel like losing a friend or not, because this is exactly the kind of situation where the minute you say something, they'll make you feel like you're crazy. They'll be like, oh, not everyone wants to fuck your man, you know, blah blah blah. They'll start saying not everyone wants to sleep with your partner, that you're like jealous of them. Like, it makes me feel a bit sick. Right, and then the last question from the romance section is, how do you keep the sex spark alive in long-term relationships? The primary bit of advice for this is that for me, it's incredibly important to be with a partner that understands that foreplay is also an all-day event of flirting and like being sexy with each other and like having a giggle, rather than just like a 20-minute fumble in the dark. Now, I'm not saying every time we do it I need to be like wine, dine, 69, although that is nice. I just think like keep flirting. I'm such like, I love flirting. It's so much fun. It's like, you know, when you're flirting all day and you're like laughing at each other and it makes you feel a bit giggly. I think keep flirting with each other and do everything you can in your power to avoid becoming just like housemates. And I will say as well, don't let resentment build over anything, because you don't want to have sex with someone you resent. Resentment is such a powerful, nasty emotion, of often symptomatic of things that have gone unsaid. So yeah, if you can cull the resentment, speak about things first, keep flirting, and do stuff like that makes you feel sexy. Obviously a lot of this is applicable to heterosexual relationships, which is not very inclusive of me, but I'm just speaking through like a lens of my own recent experience. But I think a lot of women experience something that's called responsive desire, which is where we experience desire in direct relation to what's happening to us. So I think that's where like the flirting comes in, and the date nights, and it doesn't always have to be a date night, but you know, the having fun with each other, the giggling, the laughing, the having a good time. Not that kind of like turning around and being like, do you want to have sex? And being like, oh yeah, instantly, like I'm gushing. That's not how it works. Well, that's not how it works. Like take that with a pinch of salt, because some people that will be. But yeah, I think I'm just going to say flirting. I'm going to say flirting, and understanding that it is a build-up. Emily Nagoski, in that book I was talking about earlier, makes a really good comparison that for women it's like putting your foot down on the accelerator brake and slowly taking up speed, and for men it's oftentimes that they're taking their foot off the brake and then the car goes. So yeah, that makes a lot more sense when she explains it in terms of shagging. So on to career questions. Someone has asked what my work-life balance looks like. Am I still full-time whilst doing content? Yes. Essentially, short answer. I will preface this by saying my work-life balance isn't brilliant, unfortunately. I'm still really not at a space where I'm very good at striking that balance. So I currently work 4 days a week at my day job, all full days, so like 9 to 5. I do admin for a charity in an office. So, and I also work editing and filming and shooting all my content around that on top of studying. I know a lot of people are keen to ask me about my studying, so I'm going to do a separate video on that, I think. So I have 3 days off. I try only work 2 of those days, and I normally work 3 of those days. I spend those 2 or 3 days mostly doing content stuff for TikTok and YouTube, as I try to film anywhere between 1 to 3 videos for YouTube in a weekend, and then try to film 4 TikTok videos. And then I do the bulk of my editing on Monday nights, and then I edit 2 or 3 nights after work during the week. So that's usually Tuesday night, Friday night, Thursday night. I don't do any editing on Wednesday because that's my upload night. So I usually try to have like 5 drafts saved in TikTok, although that hasn't been happening recently, so factor in the editing and filming because of that. And to stay on top of it all and like to stay organised, I usually spend a lot of time when I'm not filming and editing. So sometimes my lunch breaks at work, but not really as much anymore. But I usually spend a lot of that time working on my posting schedule and coming up with ideas for content. So coming up with video ideas, scripting videos is something I do quite a lot. Planning video formats and thumbnails is something I spend quite a lot of time on. And just like general content admin. So for example, I've answered all these questions before I film to make this part of the filming as quick and as smooth as possible. Like if it is a talky video, I do jot down just like a rough outline of what I want to say. So for instance, my book review videos, I review them as I go, or I try to do all the reviewing in my notes before, just so I make sure I hit those talking points that are the decent points and that I don't end up rambling. The more I can streamline this filming process, the less time I spend editing, because editing is what takes the absolute longest. I'll probably have like an hour and a half raw footage of this, and it will take me double that to edit almost. It depends, it really depends. I say double that, but that doesn't make me sound like a very fast editor. All of that is like the top end. If I can get 3 videos filmed in a weekend and 2 of them edited, that's like perfect for me. That often doesn't happen, so I usually film 2 videos. So today I'm filming 2 videos, and unfortunately I'm going to be editing them on the same day. I'm trying to get better at my time management. I've been without my ADHD medication for 6 months, and I've only just gone back on it, which has hugely put me at a disadvantage in terms of how I spend my time, how I feel, planning my time, etc, etc. I'm a lot less productive. I really like talking about this because I feel like it's not something I talk about very often, so I am rambling. But I usually try be a week ahead with videos. So for instance, at the moment I'm not. Today is Monday and this video will be going up on Wednesday, but usually this would be next Wednesday's video. So that way, if I don't feel very well or I get sick or I just like want a week off, I can just take a week off and not have to worry about not having any content. I'm catching up from when I was sick a couple of weeks ago. So that's kind of where we're at. I am in a little bit of an ideas drought as well, which is currently reflected on my TikTok page because I haven't uploaded much. But that's just kind of a little bit of the process. And how I spend a lot of my time. When I say I don't do a lot, it's usually because of this and because I'm working a lot, but I'm happy with the choice I've made for now. So the next question is about burnout. So do I get burnout at work? And if so, how do you deal with it? Yes, I really do actually experience burnout. It doesn't help that I'm obviously doing this like on the side of my day job. And I have just actually come out the tail end of a huge period of burnout. So how I deal with it? Burnout is quite common in my line of work, not in admin, but I work in the charity sector, so we deal with a lot of difficult frontline stuff, and my burnout is obviously much less than the people that are working frontline with like disadvantaged people. But yeah, it is something that's fairly common in my industry, especially as like the charity sector is like notoriously underpaid and overworked. As a result, we are quite like vocal about experiencing burnout at work because it's just quite common, so there's like things in place to deal with it. In terms of preventing burnout, I always try and make sure I have some annual leave booked off work, even if I've not got plans to do anything, because one of the ways I like rest and recharge is through just not doing a lot, from being cozy, from isolating, from spending time indoors, from doing my hobbies. I experienced quite a bad period of burnout just after the start of the year, and I realised that a really big reason I was feeling a lot rougher than usual is because I wasn't finding time to do the things I loved. So I was going to work and it was all work, no play. I would come home, do the evening routine, go to bed, get up, go to work, and on my weekends and in my evenings I wasn't like reading, I wasn't video gaming, I wasn't doing the things that bring me joy, I wasn't doing yoga, I wasn't moving my body. So I wasn't feeling good. One thing that also usually gets me down a lot when I'm feeling burnt out or stressed is, I think it's probably a little bit of my ADHD, is like doing the regular adult things. So doing chores, having dinners. I'm so sick and tired of deciding what to eat for dinner. It's all of that kind of like showering, feeding myself, making sure I'm okay. But those are all the things that make you feel good and make you feel prepared. So when I'm experiencing burnout, or when I feel like I'm on that kind of like trajectory to burnout, I start automating things and making things super simple. So simple dinners, microwave dinners if you need, like low fuss, low washing up, easy dinners. I've stopped trying to make things really complicated. I will buy easy things to make for lunches for work. I'm not buying stuff that I have to cook up and meal prep on a Monday night. I'm putting out easy outfits for myself. Like I will put like easy clothes at the front of my wardrobe just so that I can grab a jumper and jeans, you know? Stupid things, like I'll put my pajamas out. I will come home and the first thing I will do is shower, wash my face and get into my pajamas, so that I'm not doing the thing where you sit down on your bed for ages, doom scroll on your phone, and then it's 9 o'clock, you haven't eaten dinner, you haven't showered, and you can only do like half of one of those things because you can't be asked. So that's kind of how I deal with burnout. But yeah, it's not ideal. It's not a good situation to be in. Lean on other people for support if you can. Communicate with your workplace if you are comfortable doing so, if that's allowed in your workplace. I'm really out of breath because I spoke so fast. The next one and the last one is, how have you dealt with any hard situations at work? For example, unrealistic expectations from managers. This will be very different depending on like what kind of environment you work in. So retail, corporate, somewhere in between, hospitality, etc. I'm gonna go based on what I do in my like office environment, because to be honest, in retail everything's an unrealistic expectation. I work in quite a responsive workplace that are quite kind, so when this has happened before, or if I felt like this is happening, the first thing I do is print out my job description. I print out my job description and I look to see if what I'm being asked is something that's in my remit of work. Now, a lot of job descriptions will do that thing where they say, and any other duties as required by the company or something like that. So they will get you with that. Kind of person I am, I will probably do it once, especially if it's like a time where there's less people in the company, you know, like a time of difficulty. I will probably just do it once just to say I can do it, and then I'll be like, look, I don't think I should be doing this, or I'm wondering if there is a better person to do this job. Yeah, I have quite frequent one-to-ones with my manager, so there is an opportunity for me to discuss that kind of thing. I think if it's one of those things where like they're between employees and you're picking up slack because there's not someone hired into that role, it's really good to get that in writing that this won't be your role forever. So let's say you have to do X task because Y usually does this task, but there's no employee in the position of Y at the moment. Find out when they're going to hire that employee and get it in like writing or an email, or have a discussion about how long this will be on your task for. Realistically, they shouldn't be asking you to do that without you kind of knowing that that's coming up, if that's the case. But yeah, I don't really know how it works in like super corporate settings, because my workplace is very much a workplace where we all just talk about it, and I'm like, let's talk about it together. I don't want to do this isn't my thing. And they'll say, okay, let's discuss that further. It doesn't feel like there's a lot of game playing where I work. Like, I don't feel that that will leave me professionally scuppered if I speak my truth in a polite and professional manner. Yeah, I'm very much a paper trail girl. Print off your job description if you can find it. Start looking through. See how much time you're spending on these unrealistic expectations. If it's something that you are doing a lot and it's taking up a lot of your time, but it's actually nowhere in your job description, raise it. Send an email saying, hi, send an email, or say in your meeting, I just want to check in around this set of expectations. Is this becoming a regular part of my job role? If so, can we discuss time for me to receive compensation fairly for this, or what other tasks would you like me to drop so that I can prioritize this? Something like that, maybe a bit fluffier, because that compensation line was a bit rough and ready. But yeah, something like that. Evolving expectations of my role, etc, etc. I hope this is helpful. This takes us to the end of the video. I had a lot of questions about wardrobing and styling, which I'm not going to answer in this video, because I'm going to direct you to my Q&A that I did last year, because there was a lot of questions about wardrobe and style in there, and I think I've answered them all in there. I just don't want to double answer these questions. So if you've been waiting for like any style questions, have a look over there, because I answer all of them there. Let me know what you think of today's video. I hope the advice has been useful. I hope the advice has been sensible. Sound off in the comments if you have any advice for any of my lovely people that wrote in. And I hope everyone that's going through something like feels better soon, because a lot of you are going through it. I would do one of these videos like quarterly if this is something that you think is all fun. I'll do a part 3 somewhere down the line, so let me know if you think that would be a good idea. My social media is in the description box below. I upload Wednesdays and Sundays. If you liked today's video, leave me a thumbs up, leave a nice comment, or subscribe, and I will see you on the next upload. Thank you so much to everyone that submitted questions and shared their deepest, darkest thoughts with me, and thank you to everyone that's watched. I appreciate you all so much.